Afternoon everyone, it's Ian from DIY Home and Gardening. This afternoon I'm going to be starting the seed sowing of fennel. Grew it last year relatively successfully. This year I'm hoping for better, so let's turn the camera around and have a look. So the variety is Florence Chiriano, which this fennel is one that you'd be growing for the bulb, and well, you can use all of parts of it to be honest, but it's to get the bulb is really where it's at. Now last year, I'll be honest, the first batch or two batches of seed were not particularly successful. This first batch was not particularly successful, and the reason being is that it was getting far too wet. I think where it is in the propagator, it was getting wet, humid, and just didn't enjoy it. And it just so happened to be that I had a bit of leftover dahlia mix, and that's what I ended up using, and actually the germination rate in that mix was good. And so this is my dahlia stroke chili tomato mix, and it is a mixture of multi-purpose compost with about 25% of volume of perlite. Now I use perlite a lot for the seed sowing and for the plants that want moisture but don't want to be sitting wet. Perlite used to be a volcanic matter. It is still essentially created the same way, so it has sort of this very lightweight texture to it. Let's show you another bit. So extremely lightweight, acts as drainage when you have it in the compost, but what it also does is it locks in the moisture to it, so when you water the plants it will absorb the moisture within itself, still acts as a nice free draining matter within the compost, and then as the compost dries out, the plant can access the moisture from the material. So very nice. So this year I'm going to be sowing the fennel seed straight into the trays. Right, so let's get these seeds out. One thing to mention is that this is a green fennel as opposed to some of the more herb-like ones that you see where they're more bronze in colour, and that is the seed. So again, more like the fennel seed that you would typically buy as opposed to when you get them from health food places. So just doing a decent couple of pinches per cell, to be honest, which hopefully will germinate to produce good quantities, and I'm hoping that going straight in with this mix should save a lot of aggravation and get me some decent viable plants. And really, out of this lot, I'm aiming to get at least a dozen plants on the go. And then last thing, get your label, and give them another quick water whilst the compost is moist. The seeds are always quite a dry one, but they don't seem to like being sown into what I would call typically wet compost. So normally when I'm doing my seed sowing, I'd do the compost, give it a good drink, and then sow the seed onto it. And for some reason the fennel again just don't seem to like that, and they seem to like it being a little bit on the drier side. So for now, that's them done. and I'm just going to pop them into the heated propagator unit that is down there. And then I'll come back and see you guys once they've germinated, and well, we can see a bit of progress. Okay, we're back again. So 17th of May, so exactly a month on from the point of sowing the seeds, and these are the fennel. Now, I've had this pot here, I've kept in the greenhouse the whole time. This lot, well, they were in the greenhouse for about a week, and then actually they've been in the cold frame, so without any heat at all. So you can see that actually they're quite a lot further behind. Some are only just germinated up, but what I would say, they're not as stretched and leggy as those ones. But anyway, so that's the stage I'm at the moment, and plan is to probably give these another week or so, just for the weather to sort itself out, because believe it or not, whilst it's sunny at the moment, we've only had yesterday and so far this morning of some decent weather. So just want a bit of consistency in the weather, and then they'll be planted out. So it's the 2nd of June, and this is what the fennel's looking like. Well, let me just show you these. There we are, so nice decent plants, and I'm going to be planting out today. Watched carefully by this little fella, or big fella. So yeah, they're going out into the allotment today. Going to be planting them out at 1 foot spacing, so 30 centimetre spacing, and you'll notice that they've got these long sections here, so when they're planted they're going to go up to there in the soil. That just helps stabilise them and hopefully encourage a decent root heart to develop. So let's get planting. Okay, so that's the fennel planted. 1 foot between that way, 1 foot between that way, and I've got a load of extras which quite frankly I'm not going to plant. So when I've planted out, I've maintained 2 plants to each planting hole, if you like, which is basically just playing the odds game, in as much as well, I'm anticipating that I'll probably lose the odd 1 or 2 to a slug or whatnot. So yeah, 2 to each planting. If by some miracle both survive, then once we get a little bit further on, then I'll just nip one off at ground level to allow the other one to develop. So I'm left with these ones, which quite frankly there's no point me planting more than I'm going to use. So yeah, that's what he said. So they will just go onto the compost heap. Don't feel obliged to plant everything just because you've sown the seed and you've grown the plants. So in the space, that's where I'm going to put my Welsh onion. But yeah, for the time being, that's the fennel planted. They want a good drink now. It's worth remembering that fennel is related to carrot. So whilst they want plenty of moisture, they don't want to be sitting wet. So give them a good drink to settle them in, and then I'd say probably don't give them another drink for about a week. And then when you do give your watering, make sure it's a really good soak, not a light water just to the surface. So yeah, see you when they're doing a little bit more. Right, so I've come up with the allotment. It's the 9th of July, and taken the cover off, well, unscrewed it so I could get in here, just have a little weed. And these are the fennels, so you can see that they're clumping up quite nicely now, all the way through there. And even, to be honest, even those couple of scrawny ones are starting to bulk up a bit now. So what I've been doing is I've just been working my way through the bed, just mulching, weeding and mulching, and just essentially using this manure. And no, it isn't well rotted manure, but it's manure from the sheep and donkeys. It's not like horse manure that is very high in acid, uric acid. So it's much kinder on the plants, but I'm literally just doing it by hand. It's not the best of jobs, but it's not as smelly as well, cow manure or horse manure. But yeah, just using a pair of gloves, breaking it up and putting it over the surface, and that's just going to help, one, give the plants some nutrients, but also now we're getting into the hot period, it's just going to help preserve and lock in some of that ground moisture. And yeah, sky's looking pretty overcast at the moment, but it is 9 o'clock as well, so we haven't had any rain. We were meant to have rain over the weekend, had nothing. So yeah, let's get this done, and probably once I've done it, it'll rain, I'm sure. But anyway, my job for tonight: finish weeding, get the mulch down. Right, so we are the 1st of August, believe it or not, and behind me, well, that's those fennel plants that were only really quite small last time we came and had a look. So let's just have a quick look, and yeah, maybe lift one now actually, see what the bulbs are like. So as you can see, the tops have got right up to the top of the netting, and they've gone into flower mode, which is essentially the same as bolting. Got all this lovely, beautiful smelling foliage. Let's get under the cover, and you can see there's some decent formation of bulbs there. You know, that spindly one, well, that's still spindly, but there's some proper big ones amongst that, which is good. And really, now they've gone into the flower mode, there's not going to be a lot more growth in terms of bulb formation. And yeah, I think it's probably worthwhile to pull one to harvest. I might as well just take this one. So that's actually got a little bit on the side of it. So if we get over here, there's me thinking I'd need a fork to dig them up with. So let's grab these cutting implements. Right, my trusty assistant is passing me these. So this one, well, that's no good, not unless you want it for the foliage. And you know, if you look at it like that, you can kind of see that they resemble a carrot in formation in a funny sort of way. So generally speaking, you're looking at your sort of 2 or 3 inches is the bit that you're wanting. Secateurs. I'll just snip all that off to give you that bit, and then whether you use secateurs or sharp knife. That's your fennel bulb there. Funny you could smell it. Fragrance is absolutely amazing. And yeah, that's it. That's the crop that it's all about, really. So that is it. That's the video done, essentially, right from seed sowing to harvesting the first of the fennel bulbs. This one, obviously, it's not the biggest one that's in there, but oh, so nice. It's definitely worthwhile. You can't buy something this fresh from the supermarket, and like I say, like I've showed you, it's not even that difficult to grow. Especially even like with this year, where we've had a pretty poor summer without any real sunshine. Yeah, it's still done well. So yeah, that's it. So video finished. If you've got any questions, and obviously please send them to me, I'll do my very best to answer them for you. This is only my 2nd year of growing fennel, but significant improvement from year 1 to year 2. If you do like what I'm doing and would obviously like to see more, then please subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the reminder button so you don't miss out on the future videos. And in the meantime, I always say it, but it is so true, enjoy what you're doing, have fun, and yeah, just being outside with nature and try and grow something different. Till next time, there you go. Bye for now.